The story opens on Ragnar Brave, a frontier noble drowning in paperwork. His face is a mask of pure frustration. He slams his quill down, cursing his duties. An old butler, Sebas, enters with grave news. Most of the people in the mansion have died in battle. Ragnar inherited this land after his family was wiped out in the war. It's a harsh frontier, known as the land to be abandoned. Monsters and skirmishes are a daily reality. He was just a third son, dreaming of life as an adventurer. Now he's trapped by the duties of a lord. Sebas informs him there's one more duty to fulfill. A marriage proposal has arrived. Ragnar is shocked, calling it far too sudden. His brothers, fiancés, had all fled this harsh land. He tells Sebas to decline it. He'll be busy at the academy. But the butler insists that is not possible. The proposal is from the powerful Oldwood ducal family. They are the territory's most important patrons. The name Oldwood stops Ragnar cold. A forgotten memory surfaces, hitting him like a physical blow. It was triggered long ago when an orc struck him down. In that moment, he remembered his past life. He wasn't just Ragnar Brave. He was reincarnated, and he recognizes this world. It's the world of an anime game he used to play. A simple story of a commoner heroine at a noble academy. But the game had a dark, destructive side. By the end of most routes, the capital was a field of fire. And at the center of the conflict was the Villainess. Alicia Oldwood, daughter of a duke, fiancée to the prince. She was beautiful, talented, and impeccably raised, but her personality was the absolute worst. She relentlessly harassed the game's heroine. She was famous for telling the commoner to know her place. The constant bullying escalated into a public duel. Ragnar racks his brain, trying to remember what happened next. Alicia suffers a crushing defeat. Her engagement to the prince is immediately broken, and she's exiled, sent away to marry a frontier noble. He stares in horror, a cold dread washing over him. That frontier noble's house was his family's house. He collapses onto his bed, utterly defeated. He imagines a future of hell with the arrogant Villainess. Daily verbal abuse and nothing but despair. A servant announces her imminent arrival. Ragnar waits at the gate with Sebas, his heart heavy. Sebas muses on why a duke's daughter would be sent here. He cynically suggests it's to get rid of a nuisance. After all, the Brave territory has a high death rate. Ragnar yells at him, but can't shake the feeling of dread. A small, simple carriage pulls up to the gate. There's only one piece of luggage. No attendants. It's clear she has been completely cast out. A woman steps out, her face hidden in shadow. Ragnar braces himself for the tyrannical woman from the game. But the person who appears is not the Villainess he expected. A massive, disfiguring burn scar covers her left cheek. Her expression is one of complete, utter surrender. She looks like a captured soldier who has given up on everything. Ragnar is stunned into silence. This isn't what he expected at all. She flinches, assuming he's recoiling in disgust. He just offers a gentle smile, surprising her. He tells her that scars are common in their territory. He then reaches out to brush some dust from a ribbon in her hair. As his hand gets close, he freezes. He senses something else clinging to her. A dark presence. They are demon bugs, curses born from pure hatred. He can see hundreds of them swarming her aura. Each one represents the hostility directed at her by others. He thinks to himself that she's been hated an incredible amount. An ordinary person would have been driven insane by such a curse. Yet Alicia stands there, perfectly calm and composed. A new thought begins to form in Ragnar's mind. Would a noblewoman, raised with the education of a queen, really cause such a petty commotion over a commoner? Or was her role distorted by the needs of the game's story? He realizes she might be a victim, just like him. Both of them are being tossed around by a fate they didn't choose. And he knows her ultimate fate in the game's bad ending. Consumed by hatred, Alicia eventually becomes a demon. A demon that, he now realizes, will end up killing him. A horrifying thought strikes him. He isn't even a named character. He's just a nameless mob, destined for destruction. All right, he thinks, his resolve hardening in an instant. If they're both doomed to be destroyed by this world, Then he'll just have to help her fight back. Just then, a large insect crawls onto the path near her feet. Without hesitation, Ragnar brings his foot down with a vicious crunch. If that time comes, he declares, he'll just kill them all. Alicia had been at the Brave household for 5 silent days. She simply ate her meals and stayed cooped up in her room. Elsewhere, a fist slams hard against the stone wall. A dark, swirling power gathers around a single menacing eye. Meanwhile, Ragnar is busy exterminating an endless swarm of demon bugs. He curses, knowing they're being drawn here by magic. The butler, Sebas, calmly observes his young master's frustration. Ragnar wants to just trace the bugs back and kill the source. But Sebas warns him that such a commotion would get the house dissolved. The only solution is to mend Alicia's heart, which attracts them. Ragnar thinks back on his own harsh upbringing. Endless monster extermination and brutal training. Sebas tells him not to worry and to try being a normal youth. Suddenly, Ragnar gets an idea. He remembers hearing about a social event called a tea party. He decides he'll try something similar and have breakfast with her. He arrives at her door, holding a serving cart. He gives a polite knock, announcing that breakfast is ready. Then he starts pounding on the door with tremendous force. He bellows for her to wake up and eat with everyone. From inside, Alicia frantically struggles to hold the door shut. She yells that she's awake, begging him to stop before the door breaks. He peers in, relieved she hasn't done anything drastic to herself. A short time later, they're sitting calmly at the table. Alicia lets out a long, weary sigh. She glances at the empty, splintered doorframe. She asks what would have happened if the door had actually broken. He just smiles, saying he's well practiced in repairs. He tells her to please enjoy her breakfast and coffee. She raises the cup to her lips and takes a small sip. She immediately starts coughing. The drink is far too bitter. Blushing, she admits this is her first time trying coffee. Ragnar apologizes, explaining that tea is prohibitively expensive here. He adds a few sugar cubes to her cup to sweeten it. She tries it again, a look of pleasant surprise on her face. As they eat, she notices the strange contents of his plate. She asks him just what in the world he is eating. He casually replies that it's monster meat. The boys of the Brave family are basically raised on it. Alicia stares in horror, asking if it isn't poisonous. He explains that you build up a tolerance from a young age. He adds that it becomes an invaluable food source during war. Alicia quietly asks why he does all these chores himself. His expression turns somber as he looks down at the table. He tells her they're short-handed. Most of the household servants died in a recent battle. Alicia's eyes widen with dawning comprehension. Ragnar then shares the Brave family philosophy. A defeat without death is never considered a true loss. What they honor most is surviving and standing back up. He says that's why she is such a remarkable person. He gently rests a hand on top of her head. He tells her never to be ashamed of the scars she carries. He then points to a faint scar on his own forehead. He tells her he has his own scars too. Alicia looks up at him, and a small, surprised laugh escapes her. He grins, inviting her to take a walk with him. He wants to show her the beauty of his territory's nature. She agrees, asking if he could show her around this land. He beams, saying he would be delighted. But the walk quickly becomes a grueling mountain hike. Alicia pants with exhaustion, thinking this isn't what she signed up for. She complains that no one mentioned climbing deep into the mountains. Ragnar just laughs, saying there are no tourist spots here. The only visitors are adventurers hunting monsters. He suggests they take a break by a mountain stream. Alicia crouches, scooping the clear water into her hands. Her eyes light up as she takes a sip. She exclaims that the water is absolutely delicious. She thinks that learning about this land might make it more bearable. Ragnar shares another family teaching: understand your world to survive. They finally reach a breathtaking cliffside vista. Ragnar proudly announces this is his favorite place. As he unpacks a snack, Alicia's expression turns grave. She calls out his name for the first time, Ragnar. She asks what he would do if he lost everything he lived for. She confesses that as a duchess, she feels she has already died. That with nothing left, she came to this forsaken land. Ragnar clenches his fist, remembering his butler's advice. To just be honest and face things as he is. He steps towards her, his expression firm and resolute. Looking her straight in the eye, he makes a vow. From now on, he will protect her. Always. Alicia stares back, her mouth falling open in utter shock. He continues his grand speech, declaring her part of the Brave family. She blushes, but admits she doesn't dislike how straightforward he is. She asks if he will still protect her, even if it's dangerous. Of course, he says, as they lock pinkies in a promise. Suddenly, a colossal black dragon looms over the cliff. A deep voice booms. That vow, I have witnessed it. Ragnar grins, introducing the dragon onyx as his friend. Alicia's eyes go wide with disbelief. She then promptly faints, collapsing onto the ground. Ragnar rushes to her side, crying out her name in alarm. Their very first date had ended with a bang. Ragnar pulls his butler, Sebas, aside with a serious question. When they go to the academy, how can he keep Alicia close? He needs to stay within a range where he can protect her. Sebas misunderstands completely, blushing at the romantic implication. Ragnar furiously clarifies, that's not what he meant at all. He knows it will be too late after something happens. Later, he walks alone through the darkened town. He can't remember the last time his heart truly felt anything. Back at the manor, Alicia watches the staff struggle with paperwork. Her eyes narrow. She extends a hand, demanding to help. Ragnar is stunned by her sudden, fierce resolve. She works with impossible speed, sorting the chaos in moments. She even identifies strange financial flows in the ledgers. The entire staff stares, utterly amazed by her skill. Ragnar watches her, a small smile on his face. He thinks to himself that she can finally smile like a normal girl. But his own work makes him pause. A thought clicks into place. A new weapon shop from the capital opened right when Alicia arrived. Sebas confirms it. They are almost certainly here to monitor her. That night, Ragnar decides to pluck this problem at its root. He kicks the door of their hideout clean off its hinges. The men inside freeze, whispering his name in shock. Ragnar Brave. They sneer, drawing swords as they mock him for coming alone. Ragnar sends one flying with a single, devastating punch. Then, from the shadows, a slow, steady clap echoes. A cloaked figure emerges, their lord praising Ragnar's strength. They ask him one simple question. How is Miss Alicia doing? A wicked, knowing grin spreads across their face. A vision floods Ragnar's mind of a young woman. She confesses she sent curses to Alicia every single day. She wanted to make Alicia resent the entire world. The realization hits Ragnar like a physical blow. It's you! He lunges, screaming that she sent the swarms of demon thugs. He strikes once. This is for our adventurer's arm. The sorcerer screams in agony. He strikes again. And this is for the pests you sent. He stands over the defeated figure, offering a choice. Their life, in exchange for who is behind this. The sorcerer spits out the name, the Duke's family. Ragnar delivers one final, crushing blow for all of Alicia's suffering. Sebas appears calmly in the doorway, taking in the carnage. Ragnar simply tells him to please clean up the aftermath. On the day of their departure for the capital, the mood is heavy. One of the maids collapses to her knees, wailing for them not to go. The household staff adores Alicia, their supposed villainess. Their young master Ragnar is the one heading to the academy. A guard hands Alicia a heavy leather collar. It's for Ragnar, in case his behavior gets too outrageous. The carriage rattles away, leaving their territory behind for the first time. Inside, Alicia watches Ragnar with a soft, warm smile. She tells him he's so loved by everyone, admitting she's a bit envious. Ragnar reflects. This is his first time ever leaving home. As they approach the capital, Alicia grows quiet and starts to blush. She looks down, admitting she has a pathetic favor to ask. She asks him to show her how to buy a ticket and ride a train. Ragnar stares, completely dumbfounded, but Alicia just giggles. It is his first real outing after all. She finds it amusing. They finally step through the main gate into the royal capital ether. Ragnar is completely overwhelmed, rubbing his head in disbelief. After a long walk, they finally arrive at their assigned dormitory. Before them stands a dilapidated, run-down shack. Ragnar's face darkens. He shouts that the place is unbelievably shabby. Alicia blushes, quietly noting that it's a co-ed dorm. Just then, she finds a letter addressed to them from their butler, Sabas. They read it together. This is all part of a strategic plan. Facing public humiliation could help sway nobles to their side. Ragnar looks at the dusty, web-filled courtyard with new eyes. He suggests they clean it up and start growing vegetables. Their resolve set, they finally head to the academy for the entrance exam. They get lost on the way and arrive late. A stern teacher waits. He scolds Ragnar, calling him a slowpoke from a remote land. The first test is simple, a measure of maximum magical output. Ragnar takes his stance, focusing his power on the tall, rectangular target. A deafening roar shatters the silence. The target and the wall behind it are obliterated. The teacher stares at the gaping hole, his mind completely blank. He grits his teeth, snarling that Ragnar will never pass his test. The next trial is swordsmanship. If Ragnar can defeat him, he passes. Magic is forbidden. The teacher roars, swinging down with a real blade. Ragnar sidesteps the attack, and the fight is over in an instant. His cheap wooden sword shatters on impact. The teacher's sword had an iron core. Ragnar realizes the man never intended for him to pass, only to fail or be crippled. Just then, a new, authoritative voice cuts through the commotion. An imposing old man with a long white beard stands there, the school principal. He stares directly at Ragnar, demanding to know if this was his doing. Ragnar stands before the academy's formidable director. The old man's arms are crossed, his expression severe. He asks if today is the day of the transfer exam. The director's eyes are sharp, his gaze unyielding. Ragnar knows this man is a sage, from a powerful ducal house. He thinks that attracting this man's attention is a terrible idea. The director turns, looking down with deep concern. A student lies defeated on the ground before him. Ragnar watches, sweat beading on his forehead. The director looks back at Ragnar, a thoughtful sound escaping him. You pass. Ragnar's eyes widen in shock. He can't believe what he just heard. The director notes, there's little difference in his bloodline. Ragnar stammers out his thanks, still feeling uncertain. He asks if it's really okay. The director then poses a significant question. Does Ragnar wish to join the upper class? Ragnar stands resolute in his white uniform. That's not the case, he answers calmly. He looks forward with a firm, determined expression. There is someone here that he must protect. The director's eyes narrow, his face stern. A noble shouts in protest, calling out the director's name. The director simply states he acknowledges the admission. Whispers erupt from the other nobles. He was born in the Forsaken Lands, they say. His fiancée just caused an enormous incident. The director's face twists into a mask of pure fury. You idiotic fool, he bellows. A smaller, terrified teacher recoils in fear. The director looms over him in the darkened hall. He orders the man to act like a teacher and guide the way. Ragnar looks down, his expression somber. He quietly apologizes for all the trouble he's caused. The director addresses him one last time. He lays out strict rules about the dormitory. Ragnar agrees, visibly stressed but relieved. The sky outside is filled with heavy, shifting clouds. Ragnar thinks back to the director's words. He recalls that the man also helped the game's protagonist level up. Later, the door to his home creaks open. I'm home, he calls out. Alicia rushes towards him, already in her new school uniform. She cries out his name, her face filled with concern. She asks anxiously if he's okay, if anyone bothered him. He watches her, a distressed look on his face. Alicia becomes flustered, cheeks blushing. She stammers that she's fine, really. Two others in the room wonder about her new uniform. Ragnar, now holding a warm cup, gives a confident smile. He tells everyone that he passed the exam. He admits it wasn't one he was dying to take, but after the trouble they put him through, he had to pass. Alicia's expression suddenly turns serious. She says she's been wondering for a while now. She finally asks him about his strange magic disease. Ragnar pauses, considering his answer. He explains that he can use all the basic forms of magic, but the thing he's best at is difficult to explain. He reaches for something just out of sight. A low growl echoes as he pulls out a huge, striped cooking pot. Alicia stares, her face flushing a deep shade of red. She looks completely overwhelmed and embarrassed. He just insists they need a nutritious meal before school. As they walk to the academy, he tells her to let him know of any trouble. Alicia thanks him but forbids him from using force. She looks down, a faint blush warming her cheeks. She murmurs that she doesn't mind what's said, if he's there. Ragna looks at her with a determined expression. He then tells her that she's probably stronger than him. She glances back, a question mark practically floating over her head. He explains she can endure mental pain, a rare strength that even seasoned soldiers don't possess. At the academy, they are met with stares and whispers. The students point to the scar on Alicia's cheek. One boy thinks that her status has dropped. He muses that he could make her his concubine now. A moment later, that same student suddenly collapses. His friends cry out in shock, trying to support him. Ragna smiles innocently beside a flustered Alicia. "Stop it, Ragna," she pleads. He just asks, "What?" In their classroom, the teacher begins her lesson. Ragna sits at his desk, reflecting on what just happened. It was only a little bit of killing intent, he thinks. A stray thought then surfaces about the game's future. He recalls that the protagonist eventually awakens as a saint. A girl with glasses and pigtails smiles smugly at the teacher's question. Ragna glances over at her, and his blood runs cold. His eyes widen in shock. It's her, the heroine. A young woman with twin braids stares down in disbelief. She wonders, is she the heroine of an otome game? In her new school life, she's seated beside a bored-looking prince. Other students whisper about the poor girl who keeps declining his offers. She thinks to herself, a school romance with a prince? With her looks? If she had known, she would have asked for a seat closer to the front. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoes in the quiet classroom. She looks down in dismay. Her glasses are broken. A kind girl offers to switch seats with her. With a sigh, she reluctantly agrees. An angry teacher tells her she'll be in the front seat next time. Her name is called out, Mariana Ocean. She bows deeply at her desk, apologizing over and over. The scene shifts to a quiet holiday at a rustic wooden house. Ragna stares off, lost in thought. Alicia appears, sternly telling him that men who dig up the past are no good. Then, a tremendous crash splits the air. Wood splinters and the wall breaks apart. Alicia lets out a terrified shriek. Ragna looks at the damage, sighing that he'll have to fix it later. Alicia looks up, confused, at a curved barrier that protected her. She asks him what it is. He smiles gently, explaining it's a hidden barrier. It's holy attribute magic, just like the one protecting the royal capital. And since he can cast it without chance, he holds out a teapot. Liquid pours out, magically forming a perfect teacup in midair. Alicia's eyes go wide with astonishment. The teacup is floating. She whispers that it's so cute. Ragna explains that advanced barriers can choose what to let through. But there are limits. You can't separate things already blended together. He thinks of sugar mixed into coffee. Speaking of which, he notes they're out of Alicia's coffee. Alicia looks down, her cheeks flushing slightly. She asks if he wants to go out later. She knows a place with delicious coffee a friend told her about. They walk together under the dark sky. They arrive at an ivy-covered building with a sign, Coffee Specialty Shop, Ocean. The bell on the door chimes. Ragna freezes. His face drains of color. He thinks, no way. Could it be? A girl with braids and glasses peeks out from the doorway. She recognizes Alicia immediately. It's Mariana. Ragna's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated shock. Alicia introduces Ragna, and he greets Mariana politely. He asks if she's in the same class as him. Mariana smiles, confirming they've never actually talked. Then, Alicia calmly drops the bomb. Ragna is her fiancé. And he's a noble. Mariana lets out a piercing shriek. She throws herself to the ground, bowing so hard her head hits the dirt. She wails apologies, calling her ignorance unforgivable. Panicked, she asks if she's going to be executed. Ragna just stares, completely lost in the chaos. Inside, after the apologies have settled, Alicia clasps her hands together. She's just thrilled she might have finally made a friend. Ragna reflects, that coffee is a commoner's drink. He'd always assumed Alicia was a commoner, just like him. Mariana then says she heard there would be 2 sages pupils this year. Ragna's calm expression shatters. 2? This is different from the game. He wonders who the other one could be. Mariana admits she's a bit scatterbrained, even took the wrong carriage once. Ragna quietly wonders if all these changes are mere coincidence. Mariana then cheerfully boasts that she is good at magic, but adds that her parents always said she was useless at everything else. Ragna's expression softens as he asks about her parents. Her smile vanishes. She tells him they died from illness a year ago. He immediately apologizes for being so inconsiderate. He then gently asks why she seems to have such a fear of nobles. She says it's just a faint memory of a neighborhood kid's terrifying warning: defy the nobles and they'll kill you. In the same period she was hit by a noble's carriage. She remembers lying on the dirt path, crying in pain. She watched the carriage drive away without a single glance back. The accident caused her mother's eyesight to worsen. Hearing coffee might help, her parents started drinking it every day. Soon, the whole family had become coffee fanatics. Changing the subject, Ragna asks if she really is skilled in magic. Mariana's eyes light up. Yes, especially one kind. Recovery magic, the power to heal others. Alicia gasps. She knows that magic is unbelievably rare. Mariana looks down, her voice trembling slightly. A year ago, she couldn't help her sick parents. She says that's why she studied so hard, so that the next time she has someone precious, she'll be able to save them. Overcome with emotion, Alicia suddenly pulls Mariana into a tight embrace. As they walk home later that night, the city is quiet. Alicia breaks the silence, her voice soft. She asks Ragna, she's a good girl, right? Ragna doesn't look at her. He looks up at the full moon instead. He tells her she is beautiful and cute. Alicia blushes, but his answer leaves her real question hanging in the cold night air. He watches the 2 girls sharing lunch on a campus bench. A picture of harmony, the commoner heroine, Mariana, and her friend Alicia. But a cold thought enters his mind. He asks himself how it all ended up like this. He remembers the original story from his past life. Alicia, the villainess, defeated and driven into exile. He knows that in this world, his true enemy is not Mariana. So who, he wonders, was the one who defeated Alicia? His eye goes wide, a single bead of sweat on his cheek. He takes to the rooftops, determined to investigate. Across the sprawling city, he finally finds his target. Prince Edward invites a girl to lunch, but the girl on the bench is not the heroine he knows. He freezes, trying to place the unfamiliar face. The girl smiles sweetly, telling the prince she just arrived. Her name is Patricia. Ragna crouches on a nearby rooftop. Utterly stunned, he racks his brain, but there was no Patricia in the game. Then, one by one, the other capture targets appear. They all flock to her side, competing for her attention. His mind screams in disbelief. They're all the romanceable men. Patricia sits in the center of an impossible reverse harem. She has somehow triggered every single romance flag. But this isn't a game. These men are heirs to powerful families. A situation this unstable could easily lead to ruin. He pictures a dark premonition, a body on a lonely street. His gaze settles on one man in particular, Jalasis Ignite, the second son of a troubled ducal family. He recalls the man's dark backstory: a child born as insurance, raised behind metal bars, a dangerous man whose loyalty could shift at any moment. Ragna clenches his fist, his resolve hardening. All he wants is for Alicia to live a peaceful life, and to prevent the catastrophe this world is hurtling towards. To do that, he needs answers. He finds the academy principal, Volzia, standing on the roof. He looks the old man dead in the eye. He tells him he has a question about the student named Patricia. The principal's gaze is heavy. He reveals an impossible, world-shattering truth. That girl is a reincarnator, just like him. Mariana nervously steps into the darkness of her very first dungeon. She clenches her hands, her heart pounding with anxiety. Ragna watches over her, remembering his mission to protect her. The instructor explains this is a practical training exercise. Safety measures are in place, but carelessness can still lead to injury. Ragna, however, is consumed by a different kind of fear. Nearby, another group is lost in a romantic moment. The noble boy, Edward, sweetly vows to protect his companion, Patricia. Patricia tearfully thanks him, calling herself weak and frail. Ragna scoffs internally at the display. He knows this dungeon is just a stage for pre-written romance events. His eyes fall on an ornate necklace lying on the ground. The sacred relic, a key item for a hidden story event. He thinks to himself about the fake at the center of it all. Suddenly, a confident voice cuts through the tense air. A powerful-looking adventurer named Alicia has arrived to join them. Ragna's heart skips a beat, a faint blush creeping onto his face. His companions can't help but notice his sudden excitement. But their relief is cut short by the arrival of another group. A blonde noblewoman, Ekaterina, looks them over with a sneer. She calls out the damaged girl among them. She mocks a commoner for trying to cling to the prestigious academy. Ragna immediately recognizes the target of her cruel insults. Ekaterina's friends join in, gleefully calling the girl Drillhead. Ekaterina complains loudly about the lowlifes gathered in this place. Filthy monkeys from the slums, and now even peasants. Her scornful gaze finally lands on Mariana. Mariana speaks up, reminding them this is an academy for refined nobles. Ekaterina looks down on her, calling her a filthy being. She turns her venom on Alicia, greeting the, quote, damaged failure. She blames Alicia for letting commoners run rampant in the academy. Alicia's normally cheerful expression hardens into steel. She tells Ekaterina to hate her if she must. She says she's done enough to deserve it, but she declares that Mariana has nothing to do with this. She calmly steps forward, shielding the nervous girl behind her. She tells Ekaterina, if she has a complaint, to request a formal duel. Ekaterina's friend smirks, doubting Alicia could ever win. Ekaterina herself points a blade, mocking Alicia's efforts. She tells her to just go spend her life drinking coffee. For a moment, Alicia's face contorts in a flash of pure anger. But then, a sweet, disarming smile spreads across her lips. She cheerfully announces that she will, because she absolutely loves coffee. Ekaterina is completely thrown by the bizarre response. Utterly defeated, she clicks her tongue and storms away in a huff. Her friends follow, complaining about the unbearable smell of beans. Alicia turns back to the group, flustered, apologizing for the trouble. Ragna looks down, a warm feeling spreading through his chest. He thinks to himself that this is exactly why he started to like her. Their companions can't stop talking about how cool she was. Mariana jokes that they should kill Alicia for being called damaged. Ragna playfully agrees with the idea. Alicia quickly tells them both to stop. With the confrontation over, the group ventures deeper into the dungeon. A bright, mysterious light beckons from the cavern entrance. Ragna remarks that this is the real dungeon. Mariana cheers, her eyes sparkling with excitement for the adventure. Almost immediately, traps and monsters begin to welcome them. Ragna and his burly friend find themselves at the front of the line. Suddenly, an arrow whistles through the air, aimed right at the group. Ragna turns, shielding them with his own body. He calmly catches the projectile, just inches from his skin. "I'm okay," he says, stunning everyone into silence. He explains that a protective barrier is always active around him. Alicia exclaims that it's an absolutely extraordinary skill. Ragna clarifies that if his magic runs out, the barrier will break. His mind flashes back to when he first created this magic. He was just a small, terrified boy, surrounded by horrifying monsters. He believed if he could just cover his body, the fear would vanish. He's been practicing it his entire life, until it became second nature. He remembers walking calmly into a hail of arrows during training. Back in the present, Mariana asks about his home, the Brave Territory. She wonders if it's truly a scary place. Alicia smiles, reassuring her that it's actually a very nice place. She announces she's going with Ragna for the summer break. She invites the others to come along with them. Mariana enthusiastically agrees to go on the trip. An idea sparks in Ragna's mind. He proposes some special training in the mountains. He calls it the Brave-style boot camp. With this, he promises, they'll all learn to use chantless magic. Mariana beams, thrilled at the idea of being trained by him. "Leave it to me," Ragna says with quiet confidence. As they continue on, Mariana ponders a dungeon mystery. Why do monsters here vanish into mist, leaving no corpse behind? Her eyes gleam, deducing the place was made by ancient sages. She approaches a wall, pickaxe in hand, eager to analyze the soil. She begins chipping away at the ancient, crumbling stone. Her pickaxe strikes something hard, deep inside the rock. A massive, glowing magic circle erupts from the ground beneath her. A swirling vortex of dark energy pulls them through a chaotic void. Ragna lands hard on the stone floor, carrying both girls under his arms. They find themselves in a crumbling, vine-choked underground passage. Alicia looks around, shocked, realizing this is the dungeon's lowest level. Ragna sighs. He knows they've triggered a classic teleportation trap. Unfazed by the danger, Mariana pulls out a pot and offers them coffee. She explains, it's always wise to bring your own provisions into a dungeon. The others are surprised, but gratefully accept the warm drinks. Ragna smiles, glad they're so calm despite the situation. But he knows the truth. Falling this deep is usually a death sentence. Alicia's composure finally cracks, her voice trembling. She asks how he can be so calm, if he knows something she doesn't. He just gives her a reassuring smile, telling her they will be fine. He explains there's a sacred relic deeper inside this level. They must collect it to find a way out. They soon arrive before a massive, ornate door. Mariana cheers with relief, thinking it must be the exit. But Ragna's face is grim. The guardian golem is nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, a dark, amorphous sludge monster lunges toward Mariana. Ragna yells her name, shoving Alicia out of the creature's path. From the shadows, a colossal, bandaged figure emerges, wreathed in fire. He recognizes it instantly, a demon from the end of the game's story. At the sight of it, Alicia freezes completely, her eyes wide with terror. A traumatic memory floods her mind, the shame of a past defeat. She sees herself kneeling on the ground, being called a pathetic disgrace. Ragna grabs her face, forcing her to look at him. He says it's all right. He tells the girls to cast a defensive barrier and stay back. His eyes burn with cold fury as he turns to the monster. He declares it will take responsibility for triggering his fiancée's trauma. He draws his sword and charges forward without a second thought. The monster attacks, but Ragna endures the force. As the beast engulfs itself in flames, he is completely unfazed. He realizes a human must be controlling the demon from within. He reaches out a hand to touch its magical core and identify the controller. The creature screams as he makes contact, beginning to self-destruct. A massive explosion rips through the chamber, shattering the ground. Ragna kneels in the rubble, his arm badly burned from the blast. Alicia rushes to his side, reminding him of her promise to protect him. He just brushes it off, saying he spotted a teleportation circle. He holds up the sacred relic as they all step onto the glowing glyph. As light envelops them, Ragna closes his eyes, focusing. He has grasped the feel of his enemy's magic. He will kill them next time. In a grand and opulent room, a man clutches his fist in anguish. He gasps out a single name, Patricia. A blonde woman appears in a doorway, her expression cold. She looks down on him, calling him pathetic. Her name is Patricia, and she demands an answer. Did he manage to recover the sacred artifact? The man, Jalasis, looks down in shame. He couldn't do it. Her subordinate explodes with rage, grabbing him from behind. He screams at Jalasis, kicking him hard in the stomach. Jalasis crumples to the ground, repeating his apologies. Patricia watches the beating, completely unfazed. She tells Jalasis to explain exactly what happened. He says his mission was interrupted by a boy named Ragna Brave. Her subordinate scoffs, dismissing Ragna as a mere mob character. Later, in a luxurious bedroom, Patricia inspects Jalasis' wounds. She asks where he was injured. He points to old, faded scars on his neck. As he touches them, a faint light emanates from his body. Patricia realizes something. Jalasis is a reincarnator. And judging by those scars, he must have died a violent death. Her cold expression finally softens. She gently pats his head, praising his efforts. He looks up at her, his eyes wide with surprise. Overwhelmed by this rare kindness, he embraces her tightly. She holds him, calling him her adorable, crybaby brother. A memory surfaces, Gelassus as a baby, cursed with a demon from birth. A rare being, she thinks, just like her. He clings to her, admitting his defeat. He tells her Ragna was too strong. He can't possibly win. Patricia holds his face, asking a simple question. What is it that you want, Gelassus? He stammers, unsure how to answer. But Patricia knows exactly what she wants. Her thoughts twist into a dark obsession for Alicia. She wants to own her, to break her, to keep her chained up forever. With this sinister thought, she leans down and kisses him. Gelassus freezes, then erupts in a torrent of magical power. He stands, renewed, vowing that next time he will win. As he walks away, Patricia's mask of kindness falls away. She looks out the window, her gaze turning chillingly cold. If Ragna Brave gets in her way, she will show no mercy. She clenches her fist, crushing a crystal to dust. Destruction is her only answer. After the shadow of Patricia's vow, a fragile calm descends. At the Royal Academy, the sun shines on a far more innocent scene. A secret talk between maidens is underway. Alicia's friend leans in, asking about her date with Ragna. Alicia blushes, her eyes wide with surprise. She stammers, insisting it wasn't anything that big. Nearby, a figure stops, his attention caught by their words. It's Ragna, and he realizes with a jolt they're talking about him. His mind flashes back to that night on the streets. He remembers them catching the scent of grilled skewers. He'd suggested they try that thing called street food. A memory of Alicia's happy face appears in his mind. She had smiled, saying it was a first for both of them. Back in the present, her friend's jaw drops. She gasps, finding the whole thing completely unexpected. She could believe it of Alicia, but Ragna too? Another student, a young man with dark hair, observes them. He smirks, thinking to himself that Ragna is hopelessly sheltered. He recalls how the man couldn't even ride a train until recently. He seems completely lost outside of combat. The girls continue their chat, one calling Ragna a mysterious one. She then adds that, right now, he is quite cute. The dark-haired observer freezes, a blush creeping up his neck. He internally stammers, "Cute!" But their conversation drifts back to the actual date. Alicia remembers leading Ragna by the hand through the city. He had seemed so lost, asking why she was escorting him. Her friend asks a serious question. Doesn't she want him to take the lead sometimes? Alicia just turns away, saying it's fine the way it is. The school bell signals the end of their lunch break. But as they get up to leave, Alicia stops. She looks back with a determined expression. She tells her friend she wants to be equal with him. That's why she is perfectly happy. Her friend stares, taken aback by her simple, powerful wish. A quiet moment of understanding passes between them. Later, the dark-haired man watches from a distance. Alicia sits alone on a bench in the garden. He finally understands Ragna's devotion. He thinks to himself that she is, indeed, very cute.